All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is another edition of the Inked Up Runner. This is Jason, and I am here today, fresh off of her win at the Lake Martin 100. I am talking with Taylor Budd. Thank you for joining me, Taylor. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Sweet. So I was just before we just got started, I was just telling her that I, got a message in my inbox saying you got to talk to her. She's pretty phenomenal. And so I immediately, anytime I get one of these messages, I start trolling people on Ultra Sign Up, and you're pretty you're pretty hot off of that Lake Martin win, and you pretty much torch almost everything. So I
Yeah.
guess the first question is, where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm actually originally from Kansas City, Missouri. I lived there my whole life, and then
Go
I
Jayhawks.
yeah, yes, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, still hype after that win last night. And then I moved to Nashville June 19th of 2021. My partner had graduated med school and had they go through like what's called a SOAP process to
Mhm.
just try to find a job. And so it was between Nashville or um, like up in Penn State. And so we're going to Nashville. So we moved here last year, and I've been here since. We're actually moving again in a few months to Delaware. So a little bit sad to leave Nashville. So a lot of bit sad actually.
Yeah, I've been to Delaware a couple of times. My ex in-laws lived in Pennsylvania. They lived in between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia,
Oh,
and
okay.
uh, and so we would drive down to Wilmington from time to time, and do some shopping because I don't think they have like some sort of tax or something, or like there's
They
there's
don't.
no
Yeah. There's like no sales tax.
no sales tax. Yeah, so we would go down there and shop. So that's pretty cool. And you don't hear a lot of people moving to Delaware.
No, really, I know I told people they're like Delaware. It's like, listen, but yeah, it was really exciting because when she didn't match OBGYN last year, she reapplied, and that's been like kind of what she's been doing for the past like year. So really exciting that she did finally match, and it's into like her dream program in Delaware. So we are really excited about that.
That's very cool. Very cool. And congratulations to her.
Thank you so much.
So So the next question is, you looking at your results, you seem to have a lot of success, and you've had a lot of success all right out of the gate, pretty much. Have you always been athletic? Were you a runner? Did you play a different sport? Kind
Yeah.
of, how did you come out of the gate just lighting things up?
Yeah, so I grew up actually playing basketball. And gosh, I think I played from when I was like maybe 8 or 9 until I was like a sophomore in high school. And then I kind of stopped. And I honestly just started kind of hobby jogging. I would just go on the treadmill at the YMCA and then lift there because my mom had a membership and she would come get me. I think I did that for like the rest of high school and then most of college, but I kid you not, it was mostly just like on the treadmill. I would never go run outside. Um, and lifting. So I did that pretty much all throughout college. And then, I did a half marathon. So I was an okay runner. But I don't think I really honestly even started taking like racing seriously maybe until 2020. In 2019, I done my first 50K, which was Ozark Highlands. And it was like late 2018 was when I got into trail running, and I prepared horribly for that race. Just horribly. I would hardly go on the trails. I was doing a lot on the treadmill and like on the stair climber. But I did get it done. And then I did Psycho Summer that July, but I was just kind of piddling around. And then kind of once COVID happened, I got sent home for work, and then I had like a bunch of personal stuff happened like at the beginning of 2020. And honestly, kind of after that, I found a new relationship with trail running, and I just kind of dove completely into it, and dedicated a lot more time. So I think from that point on, I've had a lot more success just because I started taking it seriously. So yeah, really, it was really exciting because I think my last, like those first two races that I didn't podium. And I think pretty much every one after that, I've podiumed on. And that's been really cool.
Yeah, yeah, you really did. I mean, you came out of the gate in 2021, and you had,
Yeah.
you had you were, I think, second place at the Ozark race there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you say taking it serious, like what did that consist of? Did you just like get out on the trail more? Did you do more strength
Yeah.
training?
Yeah. Well, probably not as much strength training as I probably should have been doing. Yeah, I think it was getting out on the trail more. I got linked up in Kansas City with a trail group, Waco Wolf Pack, which is I'm still a part of. So I would, go out with them, just spend a lot more time on the trail. Yeah, I don't know. I started doing a lot of strength training towards the end of 2021. I got a coach. I think it was like in October or November. And so I started working with a coach. So yeah, I mean it's been good. But just I wasn't super consistent in mileage, I would say, maybe in like 2019. But 2020, I was really consistent in my mileage and, racing and things like that.
Yeah, and that makes a huge consistency
Yeah.
is such a huge thing. I mean, I know, like for me personally, like I really like, I've been doing this now, I think for what are we in 2022? I started running in 2014. I think I started trail running maybe in 2015. And and I kind of got lazy because I hit a certain threshold with my fitness and learned that I could be lazy but maintain a certain level of
Yeah.
fitness and still do things. I never podiumed. I think I've won my age group one time. I'm slow as hell, but I could consistently finish races and run just about whatever was thrown at me. But
Yeah.
it's funny because like when COVID happened, I kind of let off the gas and I wasn't running as much, and not for any sort of good reason. I just got lazy, right? I mean, there weren't a lot of races going on. And like I could really tell the difference in things that were once easy for me now were a lot harder for me. And
Yeah.
I think you nailed the consistency part, because once you get the consistency part and you're on it, then things just tend to flow,
Yeah.
just flow a lot easier. So you jumped. So you said you did a half marathon,
Yeah.
and did you ever do a marathon?
So actually I did a marathon at the end of 2020. So there's like a couple, actually more than a couple races that I've done that aren't on ultra sign up. Um, just either it's been put on by like the trail group that I run with, or I did the Loggerhead Marathon in Kansas in November of 2020, and I won that one. I think my time was like 3:35. It was my first marathon that I did. And it's the only one I have ever done. I don't know that I ever want to do one again. It was horrible, but
Yeah. I mean, that's what most people's experience are. And I mean, I've ran one and I've not ran another one since then.
no, well, I was like, honestly, so I think at that year, the qualifying time for women for Boston was like 3:30, right? And, I really was not, I signed up for this marathon a week before it happened. And it was only because my fiance Abby and I were on our way back from Vail. And one of my friends, Jeremiah, was running it, and he was trying to convince me to do it. And I was like, no, I don't want to do it. And he just drops me this line. He's like, if you're scared, just say you're scared. And I was like, well, no, you're not going to say I'm scared to run this race. So I
Right.
signed up. I think I did like 2 speed workouts that week, and then I just like went and like punched the gas at this. I mean, albeit it was a very, very flat marathon. It was on like a rail trail. So super flat, but just I had not really trained for that kind of speed that, I mean, for me, like a trail runner, going sub 8. I mean, I think it averaged out like 809-minute miles for the whole thing, but to go like sub 8 for that long, I was like, this is not what I'm used to. And I think like maybe 2 miles before the finish, like it was humid, and like I just started having the worst GI distress. I had to like pull off and like go to the bathroom. And I was like, I narrowly missed like a Boston qualifying time because I had to like shit on the side of this trail. I was like, I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way, but it was just ridiculous.
So literally that's when people say shit happens, in your case,
Really that.
it
It was so
really,
fun. I came into the finish line. I was like, guys, I literally just peeled off. And it was just so funny because the whole trail, it's like you're not by the highway at all. And then the point that I was like, I have to stop. I have to go to the bathroom. Just, I found a spot. It was like semi covered, but there were a lot of other spots that would have been more convenient that I had to stop and go to the bathroom than that. So it
I,
is what it is. I was still really happy with it. I mean,
well,
for a
hell,
first marathon, I can't complain.
who wouldn't with a 3:35 marathon? I don't even know. I don't know. I probably will never hit a 3:35 marathon, but it's funny because like
Ever again.
it's funny because like I have never been able to finish a 100 miler, and so last year I ran the Yeti 100, and I started having GI stress, and I was on the part of the trail where there was nothing but drop offs on each side of you, and it that stuff always hits at like the worst time, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Always.
never like you're never by a bathroom,
No.
and it's like and I literally finally found like this big ass hill that was like off on the side. I had to like
Yeah.
climb a fence. I jumped this fence and ran up on this hill, and I came into my to my friends at the next stop, and they were like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, I had to go to the bathroom, and they're like, really, where at? And I was like, well, I'm like, there was this hill, and I'm like, it was like a timid version of Rat Jaw because the angle was like this. So,
Yeah.
I'm like leaned back, like trying not to, fall over. And it was just like, so like I definitely can, I was not going to like win anything, but like, but it's never fun when you have GI issues at
I,
all.
I have actually gone to the bathroom. Like, so sorry, we're just talking about poop, I guess. So because I did Barkley Fall Classic last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because the second time going at Bradshaw, it's no secret that they went up it twice. It was like I had to go to the bathroom, and you're by the prison at that point, and I just like peeled off to the side, and then I went up it. So it's just funny you mentioned Raja. I was like, did that.
Well, there's plenty of places, but at least there's places to hide and go behind. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
there. Trust me. I mean, I've been there and in there, and there is
Plenty of places. Yeah.
plenty of places to go. Absolutely. So I guess back to the marathon in Boston thing. Do
Yeah.
you have aspirations to like do Boston? I mean, to qualify for it.
Not not really. I mean, I think it would be fun to do another road marathon at some point. I just think they're really fun. I mean, there's a few good like half marathons back in Kansas City. I think I just like the atmosphere. I mean, I love the trail atmosphere, but those road races are so much fun too. And just the amount of people that are there just like cheering you on, it's so exciting. So I wouldn't say I aspire to do it, but I think at some point it would be fun to do. It's not in my pipeline for the next few years, though.
I can feel you there. So one cool thing about Tennessee is, I don't know about Delaware or Pennsylvania, but we actually have the St. Jude's marathon in Memphis um,
Yeah, yeah.
in December that a lot of people use to Boston qualify off of.
Oh,
Apparently, it's very friendly for
okay.
that. I've never ran it. I just have a bunch of friends who have ran it, and it said it's very, very uh, flat.
Yeah,
Plus, you're running in December, let's face it. So you don't have to deal with the heat. You're running in the winter, so it's cold. You can, you're not going to overheat, which if you've ran here in Tennessee for long enough in the summertime, you walk outside and you're immediately overheating because of the humidity. But anyway, that might be if you ever decide, that might be a good race to shoot for. So you jumped out of so basically when you started running, you went into ultra running before you did the marathon. So why did you go into why did you go straight to a 50K before going to the 26 miler? Because most people are pretty plain Jane. I went marathon, 50K, 50 miler.
yeah. So I think I'm pretty sure what got me into it. So if you're familiar with the Ginger Runner,
Mm-hmm.
like his YouTube channel, I think I watched that, and then I had, watched, the Barkley Marathon, the race that eats its young, and I don't know what attracted me to it. I was like, this is just grungy and like almost stupid to a level. It's like this just looks so painful and pointless and dumb. But just like the community seemed really cool, and I just like being outside. So I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. I think I had to be like drunk to sign up for my first 50K because I was like, I'm scared. Like I'm bypassing the marathon to do this. Like, is this a good idea? Um, but yeah, no, it was a great idea. I think I do appreciate the road marathons now. I think I just saw the trail community. I was like, I want to be a part of this. So yeah, just went for it.
Well, it's different too than being on the road, and I know we talk about it a lot, but like I ran in the Seven Trails Ultra Festival this past weekend,
Oh, I think you wrote.
and it was really amazing to see the community aspect of it all, because everybody's there, everybody's cheering each other on. You have total strangers that help you out. They don't even know you, right? And they're like, what do you need? What can I do for you? Like
Yes.
when I ran Strolling Jim, a friend, I ran with a friend and his wife was crewing us, but she ended up crewing like half the damn race because like everybody would come in and she would be like, what do you need? Right. I mean, you just don't see the amount of community that's built into the trail and ultra scene just in general. Right. And I think that's very appealing. I don't know. I mean, at least it is for me.
Yeah, sorry, you froze up for a little bit there, but I think I got the gist of it. Yeah, I feel like you don't see it a lot. I mean, even I feel like professional, ultra runners are just very humble and like, it's all about bolstering other people and just being excited for them. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely one of the most unique things about this sport that I love. And it's just so fun. I love like crewing races and going there almost as much as I love racing them. So just to
That
like be a part of that, like just being helpful to somebody, when they need it the most, I think is just so rewarding. So yeah, luckily I've had a lot of opportunities to like crew and pace people and been able to do that. So
Yeah, that's really fun. I'm going to crew a friend of mine at Hellbender in a few weeks. So
yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome.
so he's going there to try to run that 100 there.
That's awesome.
But it's interesting, because you talk about like people cheering and urging you on. Like this past weekend, I don't know if you're familiar with the Seven Trails Ultra Festival, but what it is it's a race. It's 34 hours. and you run as long as you can, and then you get credit for how much you run, right?
Yeah.
And so, I had a really low point, and and I'm going to end up doing a video on this. So I'm kind of, I'll put that video out before this. But anyway, to tell the story to you, I ended up like around mile like 50, 55-ish. I ended up, since I just didn't feel like I was going to make it, I ended up um, deciding I was going to pull out and just take the 50-mile finish, right? And because I didn't think I had it in me to get the 100, and I got back to the aid station, and Jason Green was there waiting on me, and Patrick Reagan was there coaching people, and I literally have Jason Green and Patrick Reagan sitting there giving me a pep talk to
That's
continue
awesome.
going, right? And I'm like, well, damn, I mean,
How can you quit? You can't.
but ultimately though, it was just an amazing thing that
Yeah.
that both those guys cared enough to talk to me, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? and
Yeah.
and, and then that's just what I think is so great about the community. It's just unbelievable. So obviously you nailed, you got the 50K, and you moved on to like, to the 50 miler.
Yep.
And did you see a big difference jumping from the distances, like from the 50K to the 50 miler? Because like I know when I went from the 50K to the 50 miler, I didn't really have that big of a, like, it didn't seem that much harder to me.
I would probably agree. So the 150 miler that's not on ultra signups that I did was my first 50 miler in 2020. I think it was in like April or May. But it was when like all COVID, canceled all of our races, and one of my friends had put together a 5 mile loop at or like Wyandotte County Lake Park, which is where White Wolfpack usually meets and stuff. And that's where I did my first 50 miler, and we did 10 loops, and like I had the best day. I don't know how that happened, but I was like, this is good. And then when I did Heartland 50, kind of the same thing. It was a little bit hotter that day, but yeah, I don't think there's as much of a difference. Like it didn't feel like a major jump, at least from my perspective.
Now, when you did your 100K, did you notice a difference between 50 and 60? Because I know when every time I ran a 100 miler, it seems like the minute that you click over mile 50, the shit
Mhm.
hits the fan, and you immediately start feeling like bad.
Yeah, crumbing. Yeah, I definitely. So the first, so I did 1908. I didn't quite hit 100K. I think officially, like, because it was like a 4 mile loop, and you just did it as many times. It started at like 2 p.m. in the afternoon. It went overnight until like 9 a.m. I think I got to like 59 miles, and then I went and did like a mile out and a mile back walk, just unofficially. I was like, I want to get 100K distance, even if it's not official. But yeah, I mean, it was really hot. It was really hot that night, and like just GI distress. And yeah, it shit hit the fan. And same with Hell Creek 100K. I mean, that one was really challenging because that was like my first actual 100K distance. I mean, 1908, I got there, but it was, over an extended period of time. So yeah, I felt really crummy at Hell Creek. I think Miles, mile, I think it was 55. It might have been mile 50. Basically, I walked into this aid station just like it's having a horrible day. I didn't, the chorus was just tearing up my feet. I was just annoyed by the heat and everything. And I walk into mile 50, and I'm like stifling back tears. I go in the porta potty to go to the bathroom, and I'm just like, like gently sobbing. And I just like did not tell my, some of my friends that had finished their race or anything, like how, stressed out I was. I think one of my friends, Gilbert, he was like, is there anything I can get for you? And in the most dramatic fashion, I was like, yeah, you can put a bunch of rocks in my pack and throw me in the lake. Cause I was just so done with it. Yeah. And then I had some like hummus and avocado wraps and I felt fine. But yeah, it's such like a shell shock kind of how more like crappy I felt just hitting mile 50. It's
Yeah.
like I could get to mile 50 in multiple other instances, but then beyond that, it's just like the wheels totally fell off. I will say though, I wasn't coached at that point. Um, and so I haven't done 100K now having a coach. So I would be really interested to do another one just to see how I feel at that point, just because I felt pretty good and I don't want to like jinx it and knock on wood, but I felt really good during like Martin, probably up until like mile 75. So I'd be interested to go back to the 100K distance and see kind of what I could accomplish there.
So you go to Lake Martin, and what made you decide that was going to be your first 100 miler?
Yeah, so I'd kind of been looking because I mean, when I moved to Nashville, I spent, gosh, I was at Percy Warner like every day. And I mean, I've seen your videos, like you've been out there. I mean, it's a hard trail. And I got super confident. So I mean, that's when I first decided, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I finally feel confident enough. Um, so I got on Ultra Sign Up and I was looking for something that like wasn't too far, because I had wanted to try to get some of my friends that lived in the area to come crew me, and I didn't want to have to like fly them out or anything. So I saw Lake Martin, and then I was just reading their runner's manual, and they say, so they have an official 32-hour cutoff, but then they go on to say, like, if we see you out there working, hard, then, we don't have to leave the park until sundown. So if you can get back before sundown, even if it's after 32 hours, you will still get your buckle. And so I thought it was really cool. So I listened to some other podcasts from this guy, Marathon Runs, who, talks about Southeastern trail runs, and David Tosh, who are the ones that put it on. And I just got this vibe, like they want you to get your first 100 done if that's what you're doing, or if it's, your seventh or eighth. They just want to get you to finish. And I think that some races, understandably so, they're like, no, cut off now or no buckle. And I just, for my first one, I was like, they seem gentle. Not a gentle course, but like just really good people. And they were. So that's what made me choose it. And it was a great choice.
Obviously so I guess leading up to that, you had your coach by then, right? So you were, going into that, you were trained up and ready to roll. Is that fairly good to say?
Yeah. So my coach is Jenny Quilty from Pacific Pine Running Co. Because I would feel bad if I said I had a coach in the proper name. But yeah, I mean, I think that was the first race that I think I've ever done. I was like, I feel physically good about this one. I think most other ones, I'm like, did I do the right training? Did I do enough hill workouts, speed workouts, long runs, things like that? But when I stepped on the starting line, I was like, I did everything that I was supposed to. My body is 100% ready for this. So yeah,
So
I
is
felt,
it
I felt great.
so is it looped, or is it point to point,
So it was looped. So it was 4 25-mile loops.
or
Uh,
25-mile loops?
yeah, and it was about, I think they said like 3,000 feet of gain per, but I think my Strava came out to be around 14,000 feet for the whole thing. So and I think the trails down there, it's technical. They were like, these trails aren't technical, and then like asterisk, if you're used to running in Alabama. And I was like, these are pretty technical. So yeah, it was a beefy course.
No, I can imagine. There's my first ever trail race was a 10-mile race in Alabama, and it was terribly difficult. It was down in Pelham. It was a race called Race to the Lake,
Yeah.
and I remember it was technical is all hell. And of course, everybody knows Pinhoti. So
Mhm.
in Pinhoti's unbelievable. And then I could just continue to go on with Alabama courses. But so 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 starting out, I guess, obviously you started out strong. Did you realize that you were doing as well as you were doing as the race was progressing?
Um, kind of. I knew they didn't tell me until I was maybe at like mile 50 that they were like, you're in first place. And one of my friends, I mean, it wasn't what I was going for. I mean, when I race, like I always race to win. I mean, but at this one, it wasn't my first thought. And my pacer that was with me from mile 75 to 100, somebody said that, and he was like, "Don't think about that. We're not telling her that anymore. Like, don't think about it." But I definitely felt good, which was honestly the best thing for me because as you know, that's the worst part about these things. It's like when you get in that low spot and how to pull yourself out of it. And luckily, I really didn't feel that until mile 75, and then it kind of hit on that one. So um, yeah, I knew it, but I didn't want to focus on it or try to push it too far. I was like, okay, I have a comfortable lead. Like I just need to keep running my own race. And if it equates to a win, then that's great. But if not, that's also great.
So so when you say it hit at 75, how did you end up pulling yourself out of it?
Food, most of the time. Yeah, so I was with one of my friends. His name's Gilbert. Him and I did our first 50 miler together, and we had never run before. And then I was like, "Oh, can I tag into your 50 miler?" And we ran the whole day together. So we're bonded for life over that.
Mhm.
So it was really special that he came down, and so I was really looking forward to being with him. But I think so it was divided up into 4 segments. So like the first segment was like 8 miles, and it was the longest stretch, and it was really technical. And so we got through that. And then the second section was about 5.5 miles. And I'd say that one was like the worst one because um, during my training, I don't train with caffeine or anything like that because I knew that when I needed it on that last loop, that I would really want it to hit. So at that point, I hadn't had any caffeine. And it was like maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. It was past midnight, but the sun wasn't up, and I was like, I need caffeine now. Um, and I need like potatoes and things. So eating helped, being with my friend helped. And then I had like mantras throughout the day. Like, I don't know, do you watch Ted Lasso at all?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. So I feel like I really like when he talks about, okay, believe and believe. That was one of my big ones. And then be a goldfish because it's like that because they have the 10-second memory. So anytime I felt low, I was like, all right, 10-second memory, like it's going to be good in 10 seconds. So I was really glad that like that section that my pacer knew what was going on with me. And he was like, she needs to eat. She needs caffeine. I was a little bit overwhelmed by like my crew was asking me questions, and I was like, I'm really tired and I need caffeine. I need to kind of have a little bit of space, and I needed just my fiance Abby there, so I could have just like a little pity party for a minute. So we got that all done, and then I felt better again going out on those last 2 sections. So definitely really helpful to have a pacer that was asking me what I need, and was able to get it for me. So
I think that's the hard part too, is when you have a crew figuring out what you want from your crew
yeah,
at particular times. And, there are times when you want them to be like motivational and
right.
pushing you. And then there's times when you just want them to just relate that
Yeah,
what you're doing is really not fun right now.
yeah,
And like, you just want to be like, acknowledge that it's crappy and you're having a hard time, and
Yeah.
just give me a minute, right? Like, just give me some space and let me try to
Right.
figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I think that's good that you were able to get that and to move on. So you reeled everything in and continued on. And so once you pulled out of your funk, did you just pretty much coast on into the finish?
Um, coast is a very generous word. Um, I mean, it was good from there on out. I mean, the sun came up as we finished up the third section. And then, so after you get done with the third section, you go back to like the main aid station where the start finishes, and then it's like a 6 mile loop back to the finish line. So I got to go back to like my main aid station. The sun was up. I got coffee. I was like, I got new socks and all these other things. I was like, this is literally all I have to do. So I definitely think like it just breathes so much like energy into me to see the sun come up and just be on that last section. And I felt like I was flying. And then I looked at my times. I was like, oh, I didn't go that fast. But in moments, I felt like I was going really fast. So yeah, it was really cool.
I think that's funny you mentioned that, because that happened to me this weekend, where I felt like I was moving the exact same speed as I was previously. And then I looked down at my watch and I was going significantly slower. And I'm like, no, wait a minute.
No, this
I'm,
is
I
bad.
am, I am, this watch is lying.
Yeah,
I wear a Koros, I'm like, Lewis Wu, your
same.
watch is lying to me right now. I am moving at
Yeah,
this, right. Cause it's funny though, what happens though, as how your mind, feels things and sees things. And it's like, I guess it's like that old saying where what is it? You drop like a frog in cold water and then slowly raise the heat, they don't jump out. But if
right.
because you get used to it, you don't, it's just like you don't realize that things are changing,
Yeah.
and you just feel like you just kind of get into that same rut. And that was kind of, it's
Mhm.
funny that you mentioned that, because you always feel like you're moving faster than you really
Yeah.
are the later you get into these things.
There was
So
some there were some downhills that I think we were booking it on because I mean at that point I was just so ready to be done. We were like, oh, I think this is going to take us 2 hours, and I was like, I do not want to be out here for 2 more hours. Like I want to get this done. And so I was with my pacers like, what if we just pretended that I didn't run 96 miles before this? Because at this point we were at mile 96, and I was like, let's just pretend that I didn't. And like I was just bombing all the downhills to the point that I was like, I'll race you, and quickly regretted that. And then like it was like on the downhills, and then we hit the uphills. I was like, never mind. I don't want to race anymore.
we're finished.
Done. Sorry.
I just beat you in the downhill. The race is officially over.
That's how it works.
Yeah, pretty much. So you cruise on in for the win, and that has to be pretty special. Your first ever
Yeah.
100 miler, and you come away with the win there.
Yeah.
So finishing it, did what was going through your head when you crossed it, and you found out that you realized you were overall number one female there? What did
Yeah.
that mean?
Gosh. I think I was so tired that I mean the emotions were all there, but I was just so tired that I just immediately so we my friends and I we sometimes after a run or a race or something, we do like a howl because that's like the White Wolf Pack thing to do. So I let that out. And then we took a shot of Fireball, and then I took another one. And so I think it was just important for me to try to have fun with it. And I was just so excited. And then when I realized that I had also come in under the course record, I don't know. There were no words. I think it was because I was so tired, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. It was the most incredible feeling because I don't think that when I started trail running that this would ever happen. I was like, people run 100 milers, but I don't run 100 milers.
Hmm.
And then when I did it, I was like, oh God, I did do that. Like, this is amazing. Um, yeah. So, and I think that that week following, it still kind of hadn't set in that I was like, oh God, like I did that. That's really cool. Um, but yeah.
So, so you've done that, and the only thing I see on your ultra sign up is BFC.
Hmm.
I guess that the first time you ran it, you did the marathon version. So are you going to go back and try to get the 50K finish?
Need that 50K finish. Yeah, yeah. Well, so apparently that was the only year that it's rained at Barkley Fall Classic was last year, and it was just insane.
I saw the pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So hopefully it doesn't rain again. I think that I would love to go back and get a 50K finish, because I think that was like one of the biggest things that's gotten me into ultra running. Like, I love Frozen Head State Park. I think just the whole atmosphere around Barkley Fall Classic, and then the Barkley Marathons. I'm actually coming back June 24th, I think. We're trying to do like a women's weekend out at Frozen Head State Park. So
That's exciting.
yeah, if anybody wants to come, you have to be a woman though. But it's for people that yeah, like Barkley Fall Classic are gonna do it, or potential Barkley hopefuls for the big one. So that's kind of my next big thing. I'd really like to get that 50K finish. Take one more.
So, besides BFC, what else, what other kind of goals are you, because obviously, you're pretty fresh into this. So, you're only a couple years in, and
Yeah.
COVID hit in 2020. So, you're really fresh. So, so what are your plans? I mean, obviously, you're a really strong runner. I mean, are you looking at any other bigger races, or?
So I don't have any specific races on the docket yet. Although I do need to get something on the calendar because my partner, her for her work, she needs to get that PTO put in, because I think as soon as I finished, pretty much as soon as I finished the race, I sat down and I was like, some people after they do this, they don't want to do another 100. I was like, I want to do another 100. Like, I think that, I hopefully it wasn't just a really, really good day, it's something that I can go in and recreate. But I think I really like the distance. I'd love to do it again. So I'm looking for another 100 miler. So probably next year I will do that. But yeah, up until Barkley Fall Classic, I don't have too much going on. I think I'm gonna go pace one of my friends at Vermont 100. I think for the last 30 miles of the race. And then I'm going to pay or crew one of my friends at Cruel Jewel. So moving and pacing and crewing is going to be the focus up until Barkley Fall Classic, and then hopefully I'd like to do. I liked the spring 100 miler. Like, I really liked the time that Lake Martin was. So I also thought about going back to Lake Martin. So I did tell the race director as soon as I finished. He was like, we've never seen anybody come here and take 2 shots of Fireball after they finish. And for whatever reason, I was shaking his hand. I was like, I'll be back next year and I'll do 3. So I am on the hook to win and take 3 Fireball shots. So
There you go. Well,
yeah, so that, I think that's the biggest thing is I want to go back to the 100-mile distance. I'm really, really happy with my time right now. But I think that I just want to keep getting better, and challenging myself more. So, yeah.
you could always go out west and do like Javelina. That
Yeah.
one's in the fall. I mean, not that it makes it much. I mean, it's still the desert, but that's one big ass party, and you could sell it to her name's Abby, right? You could sell it to Abby because they have lots of spas out there in Arizona, and all sorts of
Captain.
you, so you could go out there and run javelina, then go and have you a nice spa weekend afterwards. But I just hear I've interviewed some people that have ran the javelina race, and they say it's super fun and a good time, and it's something different, right? Because we don't have that out here in the East Coast and whatnot. And that's one that I would like to go out and run something out at Javelina. I mean, I don't know if I'm ever going to finish 100 miles, but like that race really sounds fun to me. Just like that whole atmosphere is just like super fun. So
You'll get it done. I think that I would love to go out to Javelina. I think that because I also know some friends that have done it, and it just looks like so much fun. I think I might get a little distracted with wanting to just stay behind and hang out though.
lots of alcohol there.
Lots of people in costumes. Yeah, it does look like a great time. I think that I've never done an Aravaipa race, but I know a lot of people that have, and just like they live and die by it. They're like, this is the race to do. So
absolutely. And I got to interview because I'm a member of the Ultra Red team, and I got so Peter Mortimer is one of their
yeah.
He just won the Hurt 100, and he's a member of the red team. He's like a level above me, obviously, like the supreme awesome level. But like I got to interview him, and I think he's actually on the Aravaipa racing team. And he lives out there and helps out at those races. And it was cool talking to him off camera and stuff. And he was talking about how fun those races are and the atmosphere and everything. And they sound like such a great time. And, just watching the videos and on YouTube that Jamil and them put out, though, it makes you really want to go out there and run any of their races at all, because they just all look phenomenal. But that one in particular looks super fun. So, but I just thought I would throw it out there. But anyway,
it's on the short list. I will say, because like I think that's, Lake Martin was amazing. I mean, I would change nothing. I think that it'd be really cool to do one of those Aravaipa races though, because like there's so many people that do it, and I know that like their aid stations are just, they have a ton of them, and they've got all the best stuff. So I think that would be really cool.
Oh, absolutely. And if you haven't done a Yeti race,
they fill up so quick. They fill up so quick.
So if you haven't learned or saw, I'm a big, I'm a big fan of Jason Green. I saw your shirt. Yeah. So, he's a friend of mine, and I like to run his races. I will say this much about the Yeti races. You will not do a race, or maybe there is one, and I don't mean any disrespect to any other races. The atmosphere at a Yeti race is second to none. It is like the most accepting group of people, meaning that the person who comes in dead last gets the same amount of accolades as the person that wins. And you just don't see that, right? I mean, and everybody is just like so flipping nice to each other, and it's just like talking about a big party. It's like a big celebration, and all sorts of people are at these races. I mean, it's like you have all different ages, and it's just like doing these races, and it's just such a great scene. And and I know they fill up fast, but you should definitely try to find out when one's going on sale, and maybe do the 50 miler or something. I don't know, or the 50K.
I do any of them, honestly, because I've seen the videos of some of the races, and it looks like so much fun, and like you said, just so accepting of everybody. Because I'm all for the fanfare that whoever wins, it should be the same for the person that comes in, DFL, because the way I see it, they've been out there the longest and
Hmm.
suffered the longest. So, like, really, who won?
Exactly. Right.
Uh,
And what's funny is, when you look at those races, right? The person who wins, there's always a lot of cheering and it's a big
yeah,
deal, right? But the person who comes in last, they like build this TP of people
yeah,
in a
yeah,
line for the person. I mean, how special would that feel, especially if you have struggled and knowing that you persevered, and then you
yeah.
show up to the finish line and there's just humongous group of people there cheering you on. It's just a great scene. I would recommend, if I was going to do one, of course this year's about to happen, but I think the sign up is always in November, is the Damn Yeti, and
Yeah.
I would do the 50-mile version of it. I've done the 50-mile and the 50K. I've done the 50-miler multiple times, but it's such a great atmosphere. But anyway, I just had to give a plug to my peeps there. But
I love Yeti trail runners. I love it.
so, well, I guess I've taken up a lot of your time, and I guess we'll
No, no,
we,
all
we
good.
will end it. We will end it on that note. I appreciate you taking the time out to talk to me, Taylor. It sounds like you've got a lot going on, and I appreciate hearing your story, and it's amazing, and I can only imagine that you're going to accomplish so much more, just seeing what all of you've accomplished in such a short amount of time. So, congratulations again on your win there, and thanks again for joining me.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. And again, thank you because I watched a bunch of your videos. I think it's cool that Nashville runners need more love. So I appreciate what you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, that is it for this week's episode. As always, there'll be an audio and video version, and that's it.